SMTN.
How's it going, everybody, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei Network, link 314. I am your host, who I promise this will not turn into a monthly/dead podcast, Spencer Presley, and joining me for this very special returning episode of the month of September is Melissa.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. Now, Melissa, I was glad I was able to sneak you onto the show. It's been, I think, at least 14
Over a year.
seasons of Fortnite. It's been a lot of Fortnite that's happened.
You still play Fortnite?
Oh, dude, I want you to know I think about how I actually miss playing Fortnite. That's like how sad it is. Like I think about oh, dude, I miss squadding up with the
How's it
homies.
playing with all those 12-year-olds?
That's a question I will answer very carefully by not answering.
Good, because you shouldn't know their ages.
Thank you. So I'm glad you though didn't see through my ruse and saw the real reason I invited you on.
What was the real reason?
Well, most people think we're here to talk about the latest Atlus, Shin Megami Tensei, and Persona news, which is true. But as is tradition, starting in 2023, this is the SMTN Yom Kippur holiday special, so I'm glad that we could get Melissa on to celebrate Yom Kippur.
I mean, you're late, but...
Well, yeah, as is tradition, I am late.
I mean, I guess you're not late for Sukkot, so there you go.
Thank you. So I thought also you'd get a kick out of this. I had a coworker who, when they saw that it was a holiday, they were like, "What is Yom Kippur?" And I thought that's a 10 out of 10 mispronunciation if I've ever heard one.
Yom Kippur?
Yom Kippurs. And I said,
Yawn?
well, y'all...
Like you're yawning?
Y'all Yom Kip back now, you hear?
Y'all Kippur. Alright, that's...
So much as Kwanzaa Bot's job is to inform people about Kwanzaa in a world full of a bunch of non-Kwanzaa enjoyers, before we get into this episode, Melissa, can you give us the TLDR on what the heck is Yom Kippur?
Yom Kippur?
Mm-hmm.
Yom Kippur is...
Let me Google it real fast so no one finds out.
I do know what it is. I just need to remember so I say it right.
It's
the holiest day in Judaism, and you fast. So if you fast from sundown to sunup, so that was Sunday, from sundown, and then from this past Monday to sundown again. So for basically 24 hours, they don't eat.
Well,
and then afterwards, there's like a big feast. That's called Break the Fast.
How was your feast?
I didn't take part in it because I have to work, and if I didn't eat, I would be dying at work.
That's a great idea. And thanks to you now everyone knows that Yom Kippur is much more than just a fun name. So thank you, Melissa.
Okay. Yes.
So on to the second most important topic of today's episode. What the heck has Melissa been up to in the last 9 million years since you've been on here?
Years.
I also thank you for finally escaping your true home of Eorzea to come and talk to us today. I appreciate that.
Thanks. I'm really happy to have escaped my 40 sightseeing logs. I don't want to look at this list because there's going to be something up and I won't be able to do it.
You're the one who's making yourself play this game. Just remember that fact.
Making myself play this game.
Yeah.
It brings me joy, and I like to do stupid achievements that give me just a minion.
Well, that's true.
Can you believe this? 80 sightseeing logs and all I get is a minion.
I just can't believe you still haven't played Final Fantasy 16. You're over there
I have. I just haven't finished it.
You got a PS5?
No, I don't have a PS5.
Oh.
I borrow my brother's.
Oh, well, I mean, like, that's like the same
I
difference.
bought the game, but I currently have $300 that'll go towards a PS5 when I'm able to get a PS5.
I mean, at this point, you might as well just get the inevitable Final Fantasy Rebirth bundle, which we know is going to
Oof.
happen.
Is it?
I mean, if they're making 19 inches of Venom buyable, I'm sure 19 inches of Sephiroth is coming any time now.
How come they haven't announced it yet? Isn't Tokyo Game Show over?
It is over, but I mean, honestly, most system bundles they usually wait, and I think the rumor is currently that there's a slimmer PS5 coming any time now after this holiday season. So, the Final Fantasy VII one's probably gonna like be bundled in with the slimmer one,
Mm-hmm.
if I had to guess.
That's just a rumor.
Well, it's a weird one of like we've seen it, but also it's still not here, and also it's only like 5 centimeters smaller. So is it really a slim? Uh, but yeah,
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm just gonna have to put another hard drive in it anyway.
it's true. I feel like we're gonna need a hard drive just for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah, I have to get the data off my brother so I can actually play it on mine. For some reason, I made a mistake, and when I was playing the demo, I didn't play it on my account. So to get the trophies, I don't know how I would get the trophies.
So, fun fact: you actually don't unlock any trophies by playing the demo.
No, but I'm saying in the actual game.
Oh, well, I mean, you would even in the actual game, the whole part in the demo doesn't give you any trophies. The only
No,
thing you would
yeah.
have unlocked would be like combat trophies, I think.
Oh. So how can you get the trophies from the actual game to a different account?
100%.
Okay, you'd have to show me how to do that.
Well, you'd have to log into another account and then just do it. But yeah, there's no way to like having popped trophies on your brother's account and then
Oh,
have them pop on yours. You'd still have to pop those manually,
oh. Well, I can
unfortunately.
get the data to my
Hmm.
PS5.
Yeah, yeah, that you could
Right.
do.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, Final Fantasy aside, unfortunately, because I always like talking about Final Fantasy. Melissa, we've had a lot of Persona news, unsurprisingly, because as we all know, everyone likes to wait 1 year after your 25th anniversary to have the big announcements happen. So
Mm.
how has your Persona 25th anniversary plus one been? Are you? I guess we'll start with the easier one. What's your current hype check for Persona 5 Tactica?
I don't know, like two?
Damn. Out of a 5 or a
Like,
10?
maybe like a five.
Oh,
We'll
okay.
be generous.
I I'm excited for that game, but I feel like everyone around me is just snoozing on it, and I can't change their
I'm kind
mind.
of snoozing, but like the only thing that I found that was good with it is that they actually are adding more adults, and that's what I've wanted.
That's true.
They actually are listening, and maybe then when Persona 6 comes out in 2020, no, 2030,
Yeah, that's
this is
that
what
seems
I'm
about right.
saying, that they will have it in college or like 40-year-old adults.
All we can hope is to spend time with
All we
miserable
can hope.
adults as we're miserable adults.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, it's like the target audience is young adults, but
I am actually a little
I,
shocked because I kind of figured your Fire Emblem boner would have actually made you a little more interested in Tactica.
I don't know, 'cause I haven't played a Fire Emblem game in so long. And like, if I
I
wanted to
like how
play,
when you fell out of Fire Emblem is when I finally become. Did you know I'm now apparently a Fire Emblem fan?
how did that happen?
I blame it on Fire Emblem Warriors, and then when Three Hopes got announced, I finally picked up Three Houses, and
Hmm.
Three Hopes I actually like more than Three Houses, unsurprisingly. But I will say I really like what I've played of Engage. Engage is super fun.
Well, I'm this kind of person that's really picky with the character designs.
That's true. Melissa
I just,
is a hard. I like Fates only, and it's only because I get to pet. What's her name? Tharja.
I
You
don't
a big
like to
Tharja
pet.
petter?
I never bought that game.
Was Tharja though like the really like the goth chick who looked depressed all the time?
Yeah, yeah, the one that they were gonna have a trophy in Super Smash Brothers, and then they didn't.
Who's the mommy milkers one?
Cordelia?
Is she the one with the purple hair?
Yeah,
And oh man, yeah. God bless Fire Emblem
the
designs there.
mommy merc.
Actually, since you are so kind of like you do definitely like let yourself
I
decide if you want
still
a game
like
depending on. Oh no, I know, but
them,
I was thinking though
but
because
I
we
would
were talking about
appreciate it
Engage's art
more.
style, and I was thinking about it. I was like, does Tactica's art style like is that a yay or a nay for you? Because I know you like painting and stocking, but I know it's not like really a one for one.
Uh, Let me look at it again.
It's one of those things where like I think in 2D it looks way better, but because the game is all primarily in 3D, it doesn't look as good in comparison. I think like in
Oh
2D it
yeah,
looks really good, but I feel like in 3D it just looks really cheap and that turns off a lot of people.
it does look cute. Yeah, I like it.
But I'm guessing definitely not picking up day 1.
Probably not day one. I don't. I think it looks better in 2D.
Have you heard of Xbox Game Pass?
I don't have an Xbox.
You have a PC? Game Pass is on
Yes.
PC.
Oh, that's true.
You
Yes.
can play Persona 5 Tactica and then 3 months later play play Reload.
For real?
Oh yeah, Tactica and the remake of P3 are day one Game Pass.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Hmm.
here's the weird thing. I was like, oh, Spencer, I'm sure you've done a podcast more recently than a couple weeks ago. No, dude, it's almost been like a month and a half. Like I did one at the beginning of August, and I've continuously feel really bad. But let me tell you, working multiple jobs, not
You
a
said you were gonna do the One Piece one, and I guess it didn't happen.
it's still happening, but the thing with the One Piece one was it was a busy week, and then I remember I was either it was the week of my birthday or the week before. But the One Piece thing I still do want to have happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, was it though? But yeah, with this and stuff, it was funny of like me thinking, okay, I'll wait for some news. There was some stuff about the collector's edition that was interesting from Gamescom. I was trying to get some people who had actually played the demos on the show, but schedules were crazy. And then I was like, oh, okay, well, we'll do like a birthday episode. And then I was like, I got other stuff going on because I'm either stupidly tired or stupidly busy, and I absolutely fucking hate myself that that's those answers. But
Mm-hmm.
I now am down to, unfortunately slash fortunately, one job. So hooray slash boo. So
Mm.
so now I'll have thankfully more time and slash less excuses to not get these out weekly again. But I was glad A to get one out before the end of the month. A just because there's been a ton of news, and then B was like the big topic of today. Limited Run announcing that they're publishing Persona is pretty much the most. This is up my wheelhouse. A news story could possibly be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and I mean, another reason I wanted to bring you on, because obviously, like I said, we've had a lot of stuff get announced in terms of the release date. So we now know that this game is coming out in, like, so now we know Persona 3 Reload is coming out in the beginning of February, along with 9 million other games, apparently.
Oh my
Uh,
God. There's
we,
like 10 million games coming out in February.
oh, bad news, dude. There's 10 million games coming out right now. We're in a
I know.
cataclysmic wave of content. I don't know who could afford all these games.
Just don't buy them.
But then how do I play them?
Wait.
That's true. But yeah, so we've had a bunch of stuff coming out really with it, and the limited run stuff we're just going to talk about first because there's kind of the least to talk about in terms of news, but the most sort of opinions really going around because this one really took a lot of people by surprise. I would say
Mm-hmm.
myself included, but honestly, at this point, because of how much Sega has changed, I'm kind of not shocked anymore because ironically, this isn't even Limited Run's first Sega property. Like this is a weird one, but back in the summer of 2023, Limited Run actually did a release of Alien Isolation. You remember the old like horror game?
Yeah, vaguely.
They did the Switch version. The Switch version Sega published but never did physically, and that was the first ever Sega game that was officially published through Limited Run. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, well, anything's possible now.
Hmm.
I never thought that meant their first one was going to be Persona 3 Portable, especially because of how long it took for us to get these remasters and stuff. Um,
Yeah,
I guess first up, did you ever end up picking up the either P3P and or P4G bundle in January?
I did not because I am poor and I don't buy that many games here,
That's okay. I mean, they are literally just the same game, so I definitely understand that.
basically.
But yeah, what was so funny about it was like people saw that last year when the re-release of P5R came out, they were like, okay, here's a physical, here's a collector's edition, blah 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 blah, but clearly did not sell that well physically. Like seriously, like they can't even they still can't sell the Persona 5 Royal Collector's Edition, the ironically called Once More Edition. They can't even like get that thing to sell out to save their lives. They have like thousands of it.
Jeez.
Well, it was one of those weird ones where it was a Shop Atlas exclusive collector's edition. It was really expensive
Mm-hmm.
and didn't really come with a lot of like meaningful stuff. Um,
Hmm.
and then so what's funny is like yeah, I'm sure Sega probably as a company is probably like, hey, these are low effort kind of remasters.
Hmm.
This is probably not going and like they're individually sold for $20. I know originally there was plans to sell them at retail, but this was years ago. Like this is before even the Xbox versions had been officially confirmed. So
Yeah.
the fact that things had changed, I wasn't really surprised about. But the fact that its limited run is very interesting, and a couple of other interesting ones. Like I even pointed this out before we went live on the show tonight. I was like, it's been almost 3 days now, and no one from Sega, no one from Atlus, no one from any of the official Persona accounts have announce these. Maybe they're waiting for the pre-order date because for any of you guys who don't know, Limited Run announced, I think it was on Monday, that
Hmm.
they are doing on. Let me get this pulled up. They're starting with Persona 3 Portable on Xbox, Switch, and PS4 because there's no PS5 version, and the game's going to go on sale September 29th all the way up until I think it's November 12th. Yes, so you have well over a month to pre-order. And
Hmm.
there are three different versions of the game. So you get the regular for $35, no matter what platform it is. That's just the game on a cart. You then have the $69 Grimoire Edition, which takes the incredibly ugly PS2 cover and makes it a
Hmm.
slipcover box. So it's like you get the original PS2 cover with the white JPEG cutouts, as well as a Grimoire plastic cardboard, not plastic, a Grimoire like book that just holds your game, and then a steel book with your game. So that's
Hmm.
$70. And then you have the big boy, oh my god, my mom and dad hate my wallet. C's edition for $200. So
It's
this,
okay. I bought that big boy mom and dad. I hate my wallet. Near replicant edition. That was the last one I bought recently. Like
oh, that was a good one.
the big boy. I hate my life edition.
Hmm. A classic.
Uh, yeah. We'll see if I hate my life again and buy like the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I'm probably going to pass on the statue for Rebirth, but I'm definitely getting the deluxe edition. I did the same with
Hmm.
16. But yeah, so the
I would
C,
get the deluxe edition.
yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for a tiny art book music
Steel
and
books.
steelbook
Oh,
as
the
well.
tiny art book. Yeah, I have the tiny art.
But yeah, so the Seeds edition of Persona 3 comes with everything in the Grimoire edition. So you get the little plastic, I don't know why I keep saying plastic, the little Grimoire cover book, the steel book, and all of this is included in a briefcase. It is a Evoker replica. It's a one for one Evoker, but you can't take it out of its case. So it's like, well, we don't want people to do photos of holding evokers up to their head. So I'm sure probably as part of like manufacturing with it, they didn't want to manufacture something that looked like a gun and had to make thousands of them. You get a shadow box that shows them doing a all-out attack. Ironically, not ironically, but interestingly, only with the female protagonist.
Yeah,
You get
that's
a Gekkokan High patch a bunch of art cards, the original soundtrack, which doesn't make any note of it being a selection, so I'm assuming it's the full soundtrack, which is
Well,
cool.
for $200, you better be getting the full
Eh,
soundtrack.
that doesn't always be that way. And then
Yeah.
ironically, also comes with the C's armband because I thought that was funny because in the P3 remake collector's edition, we actually don't get that. We actually only got the Igus statue instead of the armband that Japan's getting.
Hmm.
So, $200 for that on all platforms. We'll kind of talk about price and other breakdown with it, but I at least wanted to let everyone know who hadn't seen it. I put in the episode art for it. You can see what the collector's edition and everything looks like. I think actually the steelbook is really nice. It uses that original Japanese cover art of Persona 3. I like how like we're slowly continuing the tradition of Persona 3 in the West using nothing but Persona art. Like how Persona 3 Portable in Europe uses Persona 3 art, how Persona 3 Portable like other countries just always is reusing original art and then for whatever reason not using any of the brand new art they used for Portable. It's very funny to me. But
Maybe it's just too expensive to use
it's
new
not.
art.
It's not. I think it's just one of those things of there's probably more art from original Persona 3 that they then don't really think about. Um,
Yeah.
I just want to see Theo. There's no Theo in the collector's edition. That's the real reason I'm salty, sadly.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, I'm excited for it overall. Like it looks interesting. I'm glad it's actually coming to all three platforms. I think it is hilarious that we're going to be able to buy a physical copy of this game on Xbox, so not only just PlayStation and Switch. Um, a lot of other questions though kind of remain like what does Japan think about this, because I actually looked into this. There is no announcement for any of this coming to Japan or having any Japanese equivalent, so it looks like this might just really be only through limited run if people want it, which is going to be wild.
Yes.
But like enough kind of like back further. I want to get your opinion though real quick, Melissa. What did you think when I sent you this? Of like, hey, look at this thing that got announced.
Um, I thought it was pretty cool, but the fact that Sega doesn't want to do it themselves sort of sucks. But like you said, because they did it the physical version of Persona 5 Royal and doesn't sell well, maybe that made them be like, "Oh, we're not doing any physical versions of any remasters
It's
anymore."
it's kind of a weird double-edged sword because like because of this I can see like a good thing and a bad thing coming from it. Like so on one hand, it's a bummer that Sega feels like they can't publish these games physically and there's a market for it unless another company pays to do it. Whereas though
Hmm.
on the other hand, if this is successful, this could see other digital only Atlus games
Yeah.
getting more like treatment. Like, hey, maybe we'll now finally get that physical copy of Dancing All Night, and not just have it be
Hmm.
stuck on like the PSN store as part of a collector's edition. But like a lot of things kind of feel a little late with it. I wouldn't be shocked if this just be ends up being a one-off where they do Persona 3 and then also spoilers, we'll talk about it later. They're also doing next month in October Persona 4 Golden on all three platforms as well. So it'll be a kind of wait and see thing with it as well because right now it is still directly distributed through them. It's not like one of
Hmm.
their other games. Like so they did the Shredder's Revenge Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game last year. And that was a
Yeah.
situation of they were printing and publishing the copies, but that was at every store. You could find that at Walmart, you could buy it at Best Buy, you could get it at Amazon. This is just strictly going to be through their website. So I'll be very curious to see how this does, especially with how long of a pre-order window this has. I mean,
Hmm.
I'd be lying if I said though, like seriously, this has got to be like one of their biggest things they've ever landed because I'm someone who was, as many people know who've ever followed this show, I was a ride or die limited run games person of buying everything they put out, every game, every merchandise, every little knickknack, and like I've been out for many years, and this is definitely going to bring me back, and I'm going to probably triple dip of go for a standard Xbox copy, go for a PS4 Steelbook copy with the Grimoire, and then do the Switch Steelbook edition, no, the Switch Seas edition, because it's like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'd want all three, even though I don't really need it. Well, actually, I guess now that actually I say that out loud, ironically, no, I was about to talk myself out of getting two special editions, then I realized, unfortunately,
You know how much that would be?
well, I do unfortunately know what that is. But no, the thing I was thinking about was like, oh, well, I only need one special edition, and then I remembered there's different size steelbooks for each system on PS4,
Yeah.
Xbox. PS4 and Xbox are the same, but the Switch one would be a different one, so I would have to get both that way. But yes, that is a stupid amount of money with it. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I'd buy this for Persona 3 and I'd buy that for Persona 4.
Mhm.
Ironically, though, the weird thing with how long the pre-order windows are going to go, it almost
It's
doesn't.
not very big, and how many is it said? There's like 213
Oh
of
no,
each
there's
version.
none of them are limited. They're all open pre-order.
Oh, then
So
what's with the
as
sticker
long
that
as you
says it's
so as
limited?
long as you pre-order by November. But I was thinking
Mhm.
about this. I was like, oh, because they already announced Persona 4. I was like, oh yeah. I mean, honestly, you could. I mean, the shipping is already going to be insane, and the delay in production time is going to be insane. And we're definitely going to talk about that. But I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I guess hypothetically, you could actually overlap the pre-order windows and just make it one big order, and just have them
Mhm.
all ship at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, Ironically, that's probably going to be like the worst way to actually get it to arrive because limited run, unfortunately, the way that they handle their business model is they are
Mhm.
really a pre-order first company because they don't front any of their own money until the production pre-orders are locked in. So when
Mm.
they're ordering how many C's like edition briefcases, steel books, and evoker guns do we need? They're not ordering any of those until pre-orders are done. And because they're making
Oh.
those orders so late, that's why the production time, because I think even the Steelbook edition only says that production time on that's going to be 6 to 8 months, and the production time on the Seas edition is going to be 9 to 12. So, like, you're not realistically going to see these collector's editions in hand until almost, and this is at earliest, 2024 is almost over.
What?
Yeah, like, that's how slow limited run is.
Are you kidding me?
Dude, I've had items from them take and from everything I've heard, like nothing about this has changed recently. They don't order the games ahead of time. They have them pretty much ready to go in terms of ordering. So like if you ever just want if you're one of those people out there who are listening to this and you're like I don't care about the steelbook, I don't care about all the special edition stuff. If you want just the game, you'll get that in like 3 to 6 months. You'll get that probably close to, but definitely not before Reload comes out, which is hilarious to think. Like people will have the collector's edition remake uh, in their hand before this thing ever ships, even the standard version. But yeah, like limited
Mhm.
run, because they don't order until everything's locked in. And when these pre-order windows are really, really long and they're not limited at all, they have nothing ordered ahead of time. They have everything planned ahead of time, but the amount, like you have to think about how long is it going to take to get all of these steelbooks shipped across, or all of these shadow box cases take forever to make for some reason. Like I know it's a really labor inducive thing to make, but it's just so funny of like people who've never ordered from limited run probably don't know how this works and will get mad in 6 to 9 months from now because they don't
Mhm.
understand that hey, yeah, you're giving them your money ahead of time, but you're not going to get any of this until, like I said, at best, holiday time or fall 2024.
Jeez.
Yeah. Which honestly, I also wonder if that detracts anyone from wanting to order from them.
Honestly, like I'd probably only order for them if it was already available and not a pre-order.
100%. And that's how a lot of people are. They're like they want to know when something's out. They want to know when they can hold it in their hands, and they don't want to have to be like, because like even this would be the better option. I would have said if this
Mhm.
was announced back in January, I think it would have looked a lot better.
Yeah.
But now we're in a world where we are, let's see, October, November, December. We're 5 months away, less than 5 months away from Remake coming out.
Mhm.
And you're trying to sell this $200 collector's edition that's not going to be out until after the remake's already been done. It's a weird
Oh
look.
yeah.
And that's not even getting into the thing of, obviously, some people are going to want Fez versus portable, but hey, these are the versions that exist out there. I've played every one of these ports. They are fantastic. It's a great way to play portable. But yeah, it's that weird thing of, I'll be very curious how this does. I don't think this is going to be a Scott Pilgrim. I don't think this is going to light up their pre-orders, like, because I think it's either Scott Pilgrim or Celeste was like their biggest release ever. But dude, even Scott Pilgrim, what did that come out? Like, I think they announced that in 2021 or 2022.
Mhm.
That didn't, like, that collector's edition came with like a big roadie case and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. That collector's edition didn't end up finally shipping until earlier to mid this year, like almost 2 years after, because it was that thing of,
That's
hey,
insane.
you're not going to see this until 9 to 12 months. But that's if there's no delays. If there's any delays, and there oftentimes is, because they're doing pretty much every week is a brand new game with them. So it's a
Mhm.
really tricky thing to get into. And I've reached out to them. I've had them on the podcast before. I've reached out to Josh Fairhurst, who's in charge of Limited Run right now. Hopefully we can get him on, because I'd really love to talk to him about him and ask him these harder questions, because like, they don't often have easier answers, because a lot of it just ends up being like, they're like, well, that's how we have to do it. And they've had other cases where they move things around. So maybe this could be one of those cases where, hey, we ordered 20,000 copies already on each platform, and if you want some right now, you'll get it shipped now, and the other ones will ship later. I'd be very shocked if that's the case, though.
Mhm.
The one thing I will say is this: if this is a game you're just wanting a physical copy of, there will be thousands of copies on PS4 and especially Switch. It'll
Yeah.
probably go over MSRP. Like, they're only asking $35, which I think is super fair for the game. It's a $20 game. You're paying $35 to get the physical copy. It'll probably come with a manual. I think that's a
Mhm.
super fair price. Though they might even ship some to Amazon. They might even ship some to other retailers, or like Best Buy, and they work with like a lot of retailers now. Those systems you're going to see store shelves carrying probably not huge amounts of, but like, stores know what Persona is. Like, they would stock a couple copies of this if Limited Run's willing to distribute, which they definitely have shown. The only one I will say, if you want this, and the same thing goes for Persona 4 Golden, if you want this on Xbox, buy this. Like, you have to pre-order this. There's going to be very few copies of this on Xbox. It's like every Atlus game on Xbox, I pretty much take as a blessing of, like, all right, Soul Hackers, Persona 5. I don't know how much more longer this is gonna last, but we gotta enjoy while we can.
Mhm. Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, so I'm excited. I know the reaction's been really 50-50. Like, I even ran a poll yesterday on Twitter that was like, hey, because a lot of people also hate, um, not only, well, like, not only, like, when I say hate, it's always a weird one. A lot of people are not a fan of Limited Run for many reasons. It could be the shipping delays, could be some of the prices, even could be some of the practices they do. But another company that people really didn't like was Shop Atlas. So like,
Mhm.
Melissa, like I was telling you before, like, people really didn't like Shop Atlas because they would do a lot of items that would take forever to ship, or would seem really overpriced and really expensive. And in a poll I made 2 days ago, 76% of people who voted in this, like, over 500 poll, like voted poll, 76% of people would have rather bought this through Atlas than Limited Run.
Really?
Yeah, like, it's a thing where Limited Run has been around long enough that their kind of title of bad guy is a weird one, in the sense of, it can be for many different things of, like, hey, I don't like that these things are limited, that I have to buy them when you tell me to afford this. Like a great example, another game that gets a big reaction from them. So like, they did all those Konami collections. So if you wanted to buy the Castlevania collection, or if you
Mhm.
wanted, oh, here's another good one, the Tomba. Tomba is getting an HD version through Limited Run. They are literally developing it and publishing it. It's the original Tomba, playable on Switch, PC, PlayStation. that's only through them. And if you don't like limited run but you love Tomba, like that's something that like a lot of people
That's your
don't like.
only
That
chance.
exactly, and like there are other things with it because I don't know if you remember this, but do you remember the whole? I actually don't know. I think this was either this year or late last year, where they fired their community manager because basically someone called them out because they said they were excited for Hogwarts Legacy, and then
Oh,
like
yeah.
a day later they fired the community manager without like basically they just kind of like gave into the mob and were like, okay, we're firing her, goodbye.
Yeah, I do remember something along the lines of that.
A lot of people are still pissed at them for that. Like a lot of people swore off the whole company when they did that. And I mean, I understand that. Like if you even not even dipping the whole toe into the whole Hogwarts Legacy thing, it's like, yeah, dude, any employer who's going to throw a person who's been working with you for that many number of years away is going to feel like shit. And I understand that feeling. That super fucking sucks and a lot of people don't want to have to look past that. So it is a weirdly tough like yes, they're the biggest um limited publisher out there, but they're far from the most popular. I think even people would have probably enjoyed seeing Fangamer or I Am 8-Bit do this more. And I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fan of their work, but it's like a thing of like, at man, there's so many different weird aspects to go for this. Because here's the other funny thing: for years they've been trying to work with Atlus. They've been trying to work with Square Enix. They've been trying to work with Bandai Namco. They've been trying to work with Atlus. All these big Japanese companies didn't want to work with them because they were a relatively unknown company. Whereas like now they have a much bigger presence in terms of like they literally have distribution and sister companies in Japan. I think they're called Super Deluxe, um, in different situations like that. And what's so funny about it now is like, yeah, like I think a company like this is a lot more appealing to Atlas. Of like, here's all they have to do, Melissa, to do this. They are told they basically sign away the rights to distribute this game physically, and
Hmm.
then everything limited run makes, they get a cut of with none of the upfront costs. This is the most easy money making move they can make possible. They're clearly not co-marketing this with them. They're not co-publishing with them in terms of Japan or any other markets like that. This is just we license Persona 3 and Persona 4 and we're going to make easy money from it. And I mean, hey, go for it and do it, but it is that funny thing of for them to finally kind of cave in with it. It'll be curious to see, and I'd be curious like what your interest is. Well, like, do you think this is going to be a release that people are going to be like, oh my god, I'm going to be there like day one, pre-ordering, locking my things, stuff like that, and get it all taken care of? Or do you think it's going to be
Well,
like maybe we'll talk about it for a day or two on Twitter, and then it will kind of subside?
I feel like more people are gonna get it after it's actually available. You know,
Mm,
I don't think a lot of people are gonna actually realize that it's gonna be out, and when it's actually out and you can buy it, then, you know,
100%.
they'll buy it. But right now, I don't think there's like a big, like, influx of people that are gonna just pre-order it now. The only people that are gonna do that are like the collectors and like the limited run fanboys.
Which is funny because I've been out of it for so long. I've kind of been dipping my toe back into that world of like, hey, how big is this marketplace? Just because it's a thing of like, hey man, video like we talked about, video game collecting in general is already a really expensive hobby, let alone being a
Hmm.
limited run collector where every week multiple games with multiple hundreds of dollars of collector's editions are coming out.
Hmm.
So it's tough.
Yeah.
Um, but kind of dipping away from Persona 3, and I want to wrap up with Persona 4 Golden real quick. Persona 4 Golden is going to go on sale later in October. I think its pre-order start the 27th, but it'll be towards that last week of October.
Hmm.
All we know is there will be more collector's editions. I think a steelbook edition and then like a big investigation teams edition is probably a safe bet. Um, two things I wanted to ask you. One, what would you think would be a cool thing to include in the special edition for Persona 4 Golden?
Have they ever had like a little teddy plush?
We've had teddy plushes, but they've never really done like a big one. You know what? I was actually thinking of one was kind of similar. I would want a TV box, so it kind of
Oh
looks like one of
yeah.
those TVs, but it's a box, and a teddy is inside it. But it's a
Mhm.
teddy that you can actually, like with a real working zipper, take off his helmet or not.
Aw. Like, would he have an actual like guy in there, or would it just kind of be like hollow?
They probably wouldn't include a tiny naked white guy teddy, but that would be great if they did. Um, but no, it is just tough because we've had so many different Persona 4 related collector's editions of like, here's one with glasses, here's ones with tarot cards. This is the first one we've ever had with a steelbook, which will be cool. But like, probably won't be that case of like with the Evoker, where like I'd be shocked if they include glasses with this.
Mhm.
Um, Unless they really want to go big baller all out and have like a display case of every one of the investigation team members' glasses, like that would be kind of cool. Of like,
Mhm.
hey, this is like obviously you're probably not going to wear these, but like it's each one of the investigation team members' different glasses. Like that would kind of be cool, but that's like a bit of a weirder one.
I
Um,
would say maybe like a hat, like
who's hat?
maybe Naoto's hat or
Oh,
Marie's hat
that's true. We have we
or the bag.
the thing about it is there's just been so much merchandise for Persona 4 over the years that it's almost kind of hard, to like it's almost kind of hard to now make Persona 4 merch that either hasn't been seen or hasn't been put up for sale before.
Mhm.
But yeah, besides that, the other question I was going to ask is, do you feel like Persona 3 Portable or Persona 4 Golden is going to be the one that's going to be the bigger hit here?
Hmm.
Because as much as the Persona 3 hype train is definitely revving up, I feel
Yeah.
like Persona 4 Golden, because it is that one definitive version, whereas there are still some holdouts of people who don't love Portable. I think Golden definitely doesn't suffer from that as
I think
as a stigma
that
over it.
Persona 4 Golden would probably sell better just because you don't have to be like these people who are like, oh, well, we don't get the Fez stuff, you know? Because I feel like they were just kind of trying things
Hmm.
when Fez came out and then Persona 3 Portable came out. And then with Golden, they were finally like, oh, we just have to release one definitive edition. We don't need to do like this little add-on, which is basically the whole game, but like another 5 hours of game.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
So still have to wait on that one, but I at least wanted to kind of put that information out there, especially because a lot of people probably do. A lot of people probably like either don't know about some of this or is more of a kind of like tougher one to really follow up with it. I was curious though, since we are kind of moving off of the limited thing and kind of going to be talking more about the Persona 3 Reload news. Did you have any opinions on the collector's edition for Reload they announced last month?
I'd have to look at it again. I
That's okay.
thought, yeah,
Well, I'll let you pull up an image and I'll tell everyone what's in it. So,
yeah, tell everyone.
price wise, I think it's 200. I may be wrong. Maybe like a little less than 200. It is easily the most expensive collector's edition Atlus has ever had. That was like a
Yeah.
mass one. So you can get it on Xbox, PS4, PS5. It will come with a Igus figurine as well as a
Hmm.
2-disc soundtrack, a art book, and a Persona 5, Persona DLC, Persona 4 DLC, and Persona 5 costume. And basically, the whole thing with it. Also, if you ever want to see the most cursed thing ever, it's Junpei wearing a Skull's outfit.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I see it.
so
That's
bad.
so weird.
And then the pre-order bonus is you get the Persona 4 Golden background music set because, of course, that's what you want to listen to when playing a remake of Persona 3.
Weird. Well, the thing is, with me, it's like I'd like to buy the art book separately or maybe the figure separately.
Well, the figure you can buy separately in Japan, and the interesting
Hmm.
thing kind of with the art book is a weird one in the sense of like the art book is not a full one. It's like those weird ones of like comparing the full official artwork section to like one of those ones we get like in a collector's edition. Like it's never really the same thing. It's a nice art book, but
Mhm.
there's always that kind of difference in quality.
Oh, it's always like a smaller one.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably not really like anything I have already. But if it's new art, that'd be cool. But they'll probably release something.
Ironically, we are still waiting on the official English release of the Persona 5 art book, so it's like it is that funny thing of like they'll do it
Mhm.
eventually, but also sometimes things take forever. Like, dude, we're still waiting on the official art book to release in English for Persona Q.
Really?
Yes. It's hilarious.
Oof.
I mean,
Maybe
hey.
they're just not gonna do it. I
No, no,
I
they're
don't
doing.
think they
I've
did.
literally asked them. So Udon's the one who's doing it. It just gets held up in random legalese like red tape stuff. It's very weird. But yeah, so like we've had a lot of stuff come out for Persona 3 Reload. There've been now 3 different public demos, one in the West
Hmm.
for press, one in Gamescom, and now one in Tokyo Game Show. They've been showing a lot of this game. There's like a lot of just raw gameplay. They finally showed off. Oh no, bad host fan time. I'm running off of 9 p.m. brain. Melissa, make me feel bad. What's the evil bad guy group in Persona 3? What are they called again?
Strega?
Strega, thank you. So we finally got to see what Strega looks like, and the new story trailer basically kind of showed off more gameplay locations. We now know what the entire party member cast looks like, um, and just get a much better idea of this, which makes sense now that we know the release date. Kind of similar to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in a way of I think Persona 3 Reload coming out in February is less surprising than Final Fantasy, but when you realize how close we are to that February release date, it's like, oh yeah, like we really got to start talking about this game a lot now.
Hmm.
So I've liked everything they've been showing with it so far. A weird kind of complaint. I talked about this a little bit on a stream I did last week, but I'd be curious if you've heard anything about it or have any thoughts. Do you have any either complaints or compliments for the new music they've been doing? There's been a couple of people saying they're not really a fan of the new vocal tracks, but I've actually really been enjoying them.
I haven't really listened to all of them, but from what I've heard, they sound really clean
I think
and
like
nice.
I think like the big comparison is just people feeling like the music's just trying to be Persona 4 poppy because obviously the different sounds
Hmm.
between each game's soundtrack is very distinct. I think a lot of that is because they've had to change the lyricist and because it's not the same person who did the lyrics in Persona 3. You're going to see that and that's going to be making it a lot more kind of apparent, but I feel at least like it doesn't feel like it's just trying to be Persona 3 with the Persona 4 soundtrack. It still definitely feels like it kind of has that vibe to it.
Sure. So I guess they have a few that you can listen to.
Mhm.
Um, that's about it.
But yeah, like so for you, again, taking the whole money thing out of it with it, we've seen a ton about this game now in terms of hey, it plays faster, it looks a lot faster. They're adding some fun story elements to it. They just while we were recording about this today, been talking about this new thing called link episodes, which are more story elements along with like your social links of like
Yeah.
moments where you can like spend time with people and learn about them in the story in a greater level. Like I
Hmm.
everything I keep learning about this game, I'm like, hey, yeah, this looks
That
really,
looks
really sad.
great.
I'm excited, but I'm at least curious for you. Like, is this still a thing? Like, hey, are you excited and want to play this day one? Are you not really like? Because there's a lot of people who, much like with a lot of like classic remakes, until it's out, are
Hmm.
nervous or trepidatious about it. Of like, hey, do we need this? Is it going to kind of ruin the original? Like, do you have any sort of like holdups at all that are keeping you nervous about the game?
Well, the one thing I would say that makes me a little nervous is definitely like the voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was watching the trailers and I was like, oh, well, everybody kind of sounds like, they're
They're
pretty
they're
good
original ones, yeah. Mm-hmm.
replacements. But, when I hear Akihiko's, it just doesn't like sound like it would be a voice coming from him. I'm like, is it him? Is it Akutsuki? Who is that talking right now?
It is kind of interesting too because like thinking about it, it felt like 90% of the cast was told do your best this character impression. But a
Yeah.
couple of them do sound distinctly different, and I don't mind it. I actually like his take on Akihiko. I think it's an interesting one with it, but because it is so jarring compared to all the other characters sounding very one for one, it does stand out a
Hmm.
lot more.
Yeah, it does sound like they are kind of trying to do impressions. I feel like the person that is trying to do an impression the most is Junpei's, but I still feel like he's doing, his own thing in a way.
It's true. It's too bad the guy who played Junpei is too busy. I heard he's just been doing nothing but voicing anime all day. The joke is no one hires Vic Mignogna anymore. Everybody.
Mm,
Sorry, unless this game was being dubbed by the people who run Anime Mitsuri, then he definitely would have been back in it. Apparently,
ugh.
is it true people don't like Anime Mitsuri anymore?
I've never been, but I
I thought
guess they,
I thought it was one of those cons that like everyone used to like, and now I guess we just don't like anymore. I've never been
yeah.
myself.
I just don't think we're missing out on anything,
All I
to be
know
honest.
is anime conventions are expensive. I
Hmm.
love them, and I wish I could go to more of them. But then also, when I think about how poor I am, I go, these 3 copies of Persona 3 Portable aren't going to buy themselves.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like so, I think at least right now they're still marketing the game extremely well. I don't know why anyone who likes just Persona 5 and even 4 wouldn't want to pick this up. They're really doing a good job of like marketing this as just like, hey, it's not the next new Persona game, but if you like Persona 5, this is pretty
Hmm.
much going to be up your alley. Expect to see Persona 3 t-shirts at Hot Topic this time next year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
What's like your go-to like cringe Hot Topic shirt we're going to see for Persona 3? I want to see a I want to see a tank top with Ken and Koromaru in their swimsuit outfits, and it just says "Dog Days of Summer."
Oh man. I mean, like a really edgy looking, I guess, sweatshirt.
Oh yeah, dude, it'd just be like Orgio mode activated.
Or like either a sweatshirt or a long sleeve shirt that has the C's um armband on it, like printed on it, and then like the headphones or the MP3 player.
There's gonna be a box lunch exclusive P3R thong, and on the back of it, it's a dark blue thong. On the back of it, it just says "Property of Mitsuru Karijo Group."
Yeah, so it'll have the hoodie, it'll have the armband, it'll have the patch, it'll have the headphones, it'll have the MP3 player.
I'll say this actually: shame on everyone. Limited run Atlus, all people making current Persona 3 related merchandise. No one is selling the headphones. How dare they?
Oh man, I was just gonna say that.
Wasted
Those headphones
opportunity.
are so cool, and I wish like they would make like a Bluetooth version.
That's true. And also, I forget too because they have their own like little in-universe MP3 player they use. I always forget about that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so still keeping on the hype train with that. Unfortunately, like I mentioned in last episode with Ozzy, the marketing for Persona 5 Tactica continues to be embarrassingly bad. And by bad, I mean non existent. There are, I think, up to 4 or 5 of their little like training deep dive videos where they get like the little VTuber model of Morgana in Japan. They've done a handful of those now. And remember, we're like less than 2 months away from this game coming out. RIP, by the way,
Mhm.
because Melissa, don't forget, Tactica comes out the same day as Mario RPG.
Uh-oh.
Bad news.
That's bad.
Um,
It's not gonna sell for
no,
shit. Well, you don't
no,
buy it, but
yeah.
it's not gonna get
There's not
downloads.
there's not enough Spencers in the world buying one copy on all platforms enough to break even, unfortunately. But the thing about it that I thought was interesting was they finally did the English version of them, where they were showing off how the gameplay mechanics work and showing it off in English. And I just was watching it, and I was like, I'm glad they're finally doing this, but I just feel like it's too late. And I put a comment on the YouTube video, and I was just like, dude, I just can't help but feel this game's gonna die unless it gets a demo. Because I feel like no matter how much this game's great and word of mouth people that like talk about it, I think this has just got to be one of those games where like it's almost like a Disgaea, where like I've never known someone who just was shown a picture of Disgaea or like any other medium budget tactical RPG and just went, "Oh, sweet, Diofield Chronicle, I'm in." It helps when there's a demo for these kind of games because normally people either get turned off by them, worried they're too hard, think they might not be interested or might not be excited about the story. Whereas like this seems like they're putting like in terms of development, it seems like they're putting a lot of like love and care into this thing. Like they announced at TGS last week, Melissa, that Persona 5 Tactica has an over 100 track soundtrack.
Yeah.
So like they're putting a lot of care into it, but it's just like that care and love and attention is just not going into the marketing, which is a bummer.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's kind of new stuff aside. If there was any other like kind of new news, there was one thing I wanted to poke your brain at, but nothing really that crazy. I had a couple of questions, but was there anything I was missing?
Um, I don't know. I feel like we talked about everything we needed to talk about.
Trick question. We didn't talk about the new Vanillaware game, Unicorn Overlord.
Okay, is that something you wanted to talk about?
I mostly just want to say I'm so glad Vanillaware decided to make a game with actual graphics and the battle animations again. That makes me excited. Also, the words
Yeah.
Unicorn Overlord are absolutely fantastic. Did you see the trailer in the Nintendo Direct?
Uh-uh.
While I'm loading up questions, just pull up the trailer. You don't even have to watch it. The music's fantastic, but you've got to just check it out. It's absolutely fantastic.
Okay.
It looks great. I mean, it's Vanillaware. Like, cause I know you didn't play 13 Sentinels, but you did play Dragon's Crown or did not?
Dragon's Crown. Wait, maybe I did watch this.
Did you play Muramasa on the Vita or the Wii?
The only one I've ever played and not beaten
Odin Sphere?
was. Yes.
There you go. The same people.
Okay, I have seen this. I just didn't remember.
Great name, forgettable gameplay. But no, I'm excited. I'm excited about this one coming out as quickly as it is, mostly because Vanillaware's weird. Vanillaware either takes 9 million years to release their games or crank them out really fast. I'm kind of glad that this is happening. But yeah, so we
This is cool.
have a metric butt ton of feedback and questions from everybody. So I appreciate you all either posting in the Discord, Facebook group, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. What else was I reading? Oh, the X group. How could I forget the
The
X
X group.
followers?
That kind of just seems like it's dirty to me.
It does. I'd be like, Mom, I'm on X.com.
Why'd you follow me on X?
Oh my god, dude! I found my grandma on X.com. Worst mistake of my life.
Gross.
So, first question actually literally just came in a little bit ago, and also is a nice reminder thing. First one comes from Caleb McDonald says, "Is Persona 5 Mementos Mission manga any good?" Question mark. Yes, 1,000 times yes. I cannot recommend this manga enough. It's a 3 volume manga run by Saito-san, who did the Persona 4 Arena Ultimax manga, which actually is finally out now. I don't know if you saw my video, Melissa, but there's new show art in 2023.
Yo,
Did you know about this?
no.
So Udon is finally publishing the Persona 4 Arena Ultimax manga. I remember I sent them to you when these got
Yeah,
announced.
yeah.
So we just finished last summer Persona 4 Arena. And that wasn't done by Saito-san. That was done by another author. I'm unfortunately drawing a blank on. But Persona 4 Arena Ultimax is getting all new covers done for Barnes and Noble people who buy it. So you can obviously still
Hmm.
buy the original covers, but with Saito-san, they went and asked him to draw 4 brand new covers. And right now we only know what 2 of them look like. And the first one has you on the cover, and then a new drawing of Sho on the back, and it looks fantastic.
Oh, is that the volume that just came out recently?
Yeah, so volume one was really weird. It was delayed for a couple of weeks. The original not exclusive cover was available for buying, and then finally, after months and weeks of being delayed,
Oh,
the
okay.
exclusive one you can now finally find in stores and online. And then everything. This should be the only one that happens with, and then volume two comes
Hmm.
out next week. So we're almost already halfway, but yeah, it's the same person who did that. I can't recommend them enough. The Ultimax adaptation is fantastic, and then
Hmm.
Mementos Mission is basically just, hey, what if someone made a really good non-canon story of Persona 5's cast, where
Hmm.
it's mostly about them outside of Mementos and stuff.
Hmm.
So it's handling a lot of different kind of requests and stuff like that, but less of the Phantom Thieves, let's change someone's heart mechanic, and more of, hey, let's make a story about these characters, and it's really really good.
Hmm. So is there only 4 books of the Arena Ultimax?
Yes,
Okay.
it's a 4 book adaptation. They're normally already pretty quick because even the Arena one, they did the whole story of Arena in only 3 volumes.
Yeah.
And also,
I wish I could see the back. Like, I wish they would show you the back of the books when you want to buy them, like
oh
on
yeah,
Amazon or something.
if you go to my Twitter, I did a video of me
Oh,
showing the back of the book.
oh, cool.
I'm hoping at least we get some like new Labras art as well as like some of the P3 cast would be really cool. Knowing Saito-san, there's at least going to be one with an extremely thirst trap looking Adachi and Show. That's my guess.
Mm,
I couldn't tell if that was a good or a bad mm. Melissa over here,
uh,
literally
what's up?
speechless. I said
What was that
I couldn't
speech?
tell if that was a good noise or a bad noise.
Oh, I don't remember what noise I even made.
That's okay. Next,
What Twitter did you put it on? The
the SMTN
SMT
one.
one?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I posted that on Monday or Sunday. Probably Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, I see it now. Yeah. Oh, well, looks good.
Hmm. Yeah,
Oh,
Saito's.
shrink wrapped. Yeah, because of the violence.
No,
Did
actually,
you go
that
to
one's
the?
actually. So the Barnes and Noble ones are shrink wrapped because they come with a poster.
Oh, okay.
So you get the
Cool.
exclusive cover, and then you get the poster, and the poster art is always the original cover without any text on it.
Mm-hmm. Do they all come with posters?
Yep, every one of the Barnes and Noble ones do. The original copies don't, though.
Okay, so you have to go to Barnes and Noble to get them?
Barnes and Noble apparently the only book publisher who wanted Atlus exclusives, and I'm not complaining because there's a lot of them
Alright.
around where I
I'm gonna have
live.
to go to Barnes and Noble this week.
So, oh, and also if you are curious, they did the same thing with Persona 4 Arena. So there's
Okay.
all the what is it? Volume 1 had Labris,
Mm-hmm.
Volume 2 had Rise, and Volume 3 had Igus. But yeah, so next question though. Hey 1426 says, "Do you think they'll eventually release a double pack with both games on one cartridge?" Yes and no. I think through limited run, no. Ironically, I
Three
could.
and four?
Oh yeah, sorry. But I could see them doing a copy of 3 and 4 on one cartridge eventually. Like I could see them doing a Sonic like Origins or Sonic Mania Plus, where this
Yeah.
sells really well, and then they go, huh? Maybe we should sell this on one cartridge and then charge $40 and then do our own thing. I could see them doing that, and then people getting really pissed. But it's hard to say because it's like They could have done that any time. There's really nothing stopping them. So I'm gonna
Oh yeah.
say probably not happening, but not impossible because Sega is weird. But what about you?
Maybe. I mean, it would be really
Oh yeah, man,
nice.
it'd be way better to pay $40 for both out of one physical copy. I love that.
I would pay $40 for both games. Like in this day and age, I would only pay $20 for one game.
In this
And like I
economy,
know in this, yeah, but it's a little prices are just a little ridiculous right now. But you know, it'd be cool, but I just wouldn't see it happening like you said unless it actually sells well. And I would say like maybe actually don't make people wait super long and just be like, okay, so here we were gonna do this to begin with, but here it is now, and there's like 2,000 copies, and that's it.
yeah. Thankfully, Sega is not in the market of doing anything really limited. The only time they ever did, and it sold out really fast, was ironically they did I think a 6 to 9,000 copy run of the Soul Hackers 2 Collector's Edition, which like that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
understandable of like yeah, like this is a niche game. I understand most retailers probably don't want to stock Soul Hackers 2 Collector's Edition.
Hmm.
Kirian Buckley says, "Do you know how well P3P and P4G sold on current consoles, and them getting a limited run print because sales were not that good, or to get fans to double dip? They made their money back tenfold on it. I wouldn't have any worry about the digital sales being soft because remember they were also on Game Pass day one, so they got money for that. A lot of marketing through Nintendo, none at all through Sony, but I mean they didn't really have to. So these games blew their budget back and then some. It's definitely Sega trying to capitalize and double dip off of their fan base.
Hmm.
Like
Why wouldn't they get any money back from Sony?
well, no. In the sense of Sony, they got money through the PlayStation copies,
Oh,
but
true,
Sony
yeah.
just didn't ever market it. Sony was never
Right.
never included it in their like big like news pressers.
Mm, gotcha.
Whereas like these games showed up on the Nintendo Directs. These games were shown during Microsoft talking about Game Pass and things like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Let's see. Next question from Discord. This one comes from Jagingus, who says, "Do you think this could lead to more non-physically released Sega games in the future through limited run? A big one, and this is an interesting one. I'd be curious what you think about. Do you think this means we might get a physical copy of Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who
That's
sold
what
his
I
name?"
was thinking. I was actually thinking that when we were talking. Yes, definitely that should be a game that should be
I
considered.
can't believe that they don't want to publish that. Like the unfortunate thing is I can't and I can because it's like Yakuza 7 and Yakuza Ishin just sold really poorly physically.
Hmm.
Like they made their money back, but like Ishin especially I think this year just came out at a really bad
Well,
time.
to be honest, I feel like Yakuza 7 did well
Oh no, Yakuza 7
digitally.
destroyed for sure.
Definitely, but it definitely probably did better, digitally because it was during the pandemic.
Mhm.
But I don't really understand why they're not doing a physical release of, this basically prequel to Yakuza 8.
I mean that's a whole other podcast discussion all on its own. My big one right now is like I actively think releasing Yakuza 8 2 months after Yakuza Gaiden
Hmm.
and a month before Persona 3 is like, what are you doing?
I really wish they would wait to release Yakuza 8.
Yeah, it's really
Like, I feel
strange
like
why they're
they
doing
should
that.
wait till like not no, um, mm, uh, April, because this is way too many games.
100%. 100%.
And it's like people are getting this Gaiden, and maybe some people want to play it a lot more and then they barely get any time.
I mean, if Gaiden was like a $20 downloadable game, I would understand. But like, even by Yakuza standards, this at least like it looks like it's gonna be a 30 to 40 hour game.
Ugh. And they can't even make it physical.
Well, no, that's the bummer. Is they're doing it physically just everywhere except North America and Europe. Like they're having it. There's an
Oh,
English physical in Asia, but just not in
that makes
America.
sense.
But no, you are right though. I could definitely see like a dragon, the man who sold his name, getting a physical release through LRG like next year or something like that, or even
Hmm.
closer to release. Because yeah, that's the kind of game that I'd be like, yeah, I could see them wanting to double dip and getting people that way. Even something as similar as like I wouldn't be shocked if we see them release Persona 4 Arena Ultimax on Switch, Xbox, and PS4. Even though they did it already in Asia, there's still enough people there who'd probably buy it anyway.
Yeah.
Let's see here, though. Let's see what our other things are. Here's a good one from Poto. Melissa, why do you think Atlus didn't release them yourself, in your opinion?
Well, maybe they think it's too expensive, and
I mean,
maybe
they're.
they think because they're trying to work more at promoting Reload, like at this point, like to do it like this year. Like
Mhm.
right now, they want people to buy Reload, and if you want to buy the original version, you should just go buy it digitally and spend your money on Reload instead. Because maybe they think that if they're going to release it so soon to Reload, that people won't buy Reload.
For sure. Noctone 07 in 1. Nox says, what version of P3P and P4G do you plan on buying system wise for the LRG? So, like I said, I'm a disturbing, horrible mongoloid person. Don't be like me. I want one of each. But, like, for you, though, Melissa, is this saying would you want PS4 or would you want to do Switch?
I might want to do Switch, and it's for a really weird reason because it's in the shape of the PSP box.
It is. I do. That actually will look really clean next to each other.
Yeah, is it the same size actually? Because I've never actually matched them up.
So I have them right next to each other. The Switch is thinner,
It's thinner, yeah, you're right.
and they're height wise and width wise basically the same though.
Oh, well, that would look good.
Hmm. For no
I'd think
particular
about it.
reason.
Probably would wait until they actually come out.
Yes.
But at the time they come out, I feel like someone would need to remind me.
Don't worry. I've already been asked by many friends have been like, Spencer, please remind me to pre-order this. I will forget. Same thing with Golden, or do you think you would want to go on another system?
Um, maybe the same. I think the same, if I got it.
If you showed me an image of Persona 4 Golden on an Xbox One case back in 2012, my brain would have probably melted.
Yeah. Like my brain, melted if it were like 2002 and someone was like, "You can play Final Fantasy X on Xbox?" What?
God, we really have come a long way. Be like, they remastered Final Fantasy IX. Oh my god.
They're
Um,
thinking of doing a remake of Final Fantasy
I mean,
9?
real talk. Actually, if you told me even 3 years ago that we would have HD versions of Live Alive and Mario RPG and Thousand Year Door, I would never believe you. I'd say
That's
no fucking way.
crazy.
Next
Yeah.
question is by Poto, who says, "What Persona or SMT character do you think would be most likely to eat lettuce?
Persona or
Who
SMT?
who's the bigger herbivore? I would say I could see. Oof, this is tough.
I feel like Nahobino would be like a vegan or something.
how do you think he keeps his slim twink-like figure? It's all that lettuce. I think
So true.
Nabino's a good choice. I would say, ironically, I could see the fox from Persona
Yeah.
4 just like chomping down on lettuce like a
Or
madman.
some cabbage or lettuce. You show up and it's
Stealing
like,
it.
hey,
Also,
hey, bro, time to do a social link. What are you eating?
this is how you know we're A, bad fans, or B, not cringe, is that neither of us said Adachi.
Oh, I forgot.
I didn't even think about that meme answer. That's too funny.
Damn it.
Phone says, "What are your thoughts on the battle changes they've been making to Persona 3 Reload so far? Are you worried about any of them being game breaking?"
I mean, if it's anything like Persona 5, I don't think I'm that worried at all.
I think a lot of the changes, honestly, have all just been to increasing the speed and fluidity of it. I've just been really
Mm-hmm.
impressed at how fast it all looks with it, because a
Yeah.
large part of it, especially because when I've been replaying Portable this year,
Mm-hmm.
that is a slow dungeon crawler. That is not.
Yeah, it really is.
So, like,
Like,
the
if they
fact that
could
you're going through those dungeons at
fix the
such a speedier
loading,
pace. Oh yeah, I mean the loading, because
the loading is bad.
I mean, I expect at least on Xbox Series and PS5 like this to have, like, from what we've seen, because that's what they've been demoing on it, like no loading. It's all been really smooth transitions.
Oh, good.
But I mean, like, in terms of like the battle mechanic changes, I've honestly really been a fan of what they've done. It's nice that it's not just a one for one of the original game, and it's not just trying to make it P5. I think adding the new mechanics in terms of like having the special summon attacks, as well as
Mm-hmm.
the new like combo attacks and other things, like making it still feel like an evolution to Persona 5 without losing it that original core is a really nice touch.
Mm-hmm.
The other part of the question as well, I'll let you answer this one. Melissa,
Sure.
here's the hard question. Who is best girl in Megaten, and why is it not Nemissa?
Why is it Nemissa or
Well,
not
if it's
Nemissa?
not Nemissa, why?
Oh,
And if
if
so,
it's not,
yes.
best girl is Labras.
Ooh, underrated best girl for sure.
Underrated.
Fun fact: even in the arena manga, they keep her Brooklyn accent. So instead of
How
saying you, she said use
use
guys.
use guys?
Use guys better not forget who the real student council president is.
Who
It's
had
the
a president?
it's
It's me.
it's the short guy from Adam Sandler's Eight Crazy Nights.
That's a technical foul.
Never forget. Never forget the guy who worked on that movie almost made a Kingdom Hearts anime.
Yes,
Let it never
he
be
did.
forgotten.
Oh my god. Well, you know what I was thinking of Labras with uh Four Kids Joy Wheeler's voice coming out of her mouth.
Oh yeah, why is Joey's sister? Why did she not have Joey's accent? I always wondered that.
Because they got separated? I don't
Oh, you know
know.
what? I bet when she lost her eyes, she lost her accent. She couldn't find her Brooklyn accent anymore.
She couldn't find it.
Joey, where's my Brooklyn accent? Oh, it's gone away. Hello, Joseph.
Hello, Joseph. I am not blind anymore.
I've got to
You
find
are
my
going blind?
I've got to find my sister's eyesight and Brooklyn accent. Oh no. So we got a couple of questions left on the Facebook page, and then you're free to escape and go back to playing Genshin Impact tonight, okay?
No, thanks.
Wow, damn, bro, you don't play anything.
I don't play Genshin
You
Impact.
heard it here
You
first, folks. Number one
really
Honkai
think
lover.
I live like that?
Number one Honkai fan,
I also
Melissa.
don't live like that.
You actually should try Honkai. I will say this. I tried the beta recently when it was on PS5. That's just a solid ass RPG. It's really fun.
Yeah, there's too many games coming out.
That's true. Well, first up, we've got a question from Troy Branch who says, "Why release P3 Reload without Fez and P3P content? Not buying it separately as DLC, waiting for a full release even though I doubt there will be one. We all know how.
Hmm.
My thing is this, Troy. I understand if you feel like P3R is holding out on content, but like I think of it like the Final Fantasy VII remake situation of even with the content they cut out, I walked
Yeah.
away from that game feeling like I got my 60, $70 out of it.
And honestly, if they wanted to do like DLC later, they could.
Well, that's the thing though, is like he's saying even when they do it, it will be a slap in the face to people who bought it that it wasn't included. So I kind of get that whole argument, but like my thing with it is this: like whether they're lying to our faces or not, we have to just take it at their word that their goal was they wanted to remake the original game. Does that mean they're probably
Yeah.
going to do something? I'm sure they're going to do. I'm sure they're going to find a way to make the portable content in there.
Well,
In
what they're gonna do is, if it sells really well, they're just gonna remake Persona 4.
that I'd be curious about. I'm actually not. I'm not on that camp, but I could see it happening if this does sell really well. Because like Capcom, remember when they announced Resident Evil 2 remake, they did not think that they were going to then end up being stuck remaking 3 and then 4.
Yeah, and like 4 has been really re-released like 50 times.
So never say never, but at the same time I'd say at least be optimistic about what they're giving us because remember, even with base Persona 3, that's a lot of game
Hmm.
there. Um,
Yeah.
my other thing I would say, because I'm surprised I haven't asked you this, resident cheapskate Melissa over here. Melissa, do you have thoughts on Persona 3 Reload being the first $70 Atlus game?
What's the first $70 Atlus game?
It is, even on PS4. If you want to pick it up, it's a $70 game.
Jeez. That's kind of a lot.
I mean, but like we're now getting into a future where there are more games now coming out at 70 compared to the 60 or below.
Well, to be honest, because most people don't know this, but if you look back and like see what the prices were like for cartridge-based games in the 90s, it was like probably $80, like 70,
Let
$80.
me tell you how much Grandpa had to pay for Chrono Trigger, Billy. It was 900
100.
shekels. 900 shekels. I was in the cave for weeks without any air to get that game.
Oh, good.
But no, you're right. I mean, even without getting
I
into
mean, even
inflation,
with inflation, yeah, it's still like about the same now. And basically, you're getting a whole new game.
yeah. I mean,
So I don't
it
blame
is.
them for making it. They gotta make their money, and if they're gonna sell it at $50, they're not gonna make enough profit.
So next up, Stephen Yip has one last final question about the LRG stuff. How
Mhm.
optimistic are you about the quality of the Evoker? Do you think it's going to feel like a quality item, or do you think it's just going to probably be like a chunk of
Well,
plastic in a
first of
case?
all, it's probably gonna be like half the evoker sitting in a
I didn't
box.
even think about that. You're right. If it's not even being removable, why make the whole
Why even make
model?
the whole thing?
Oh, you're evil. You're not wrong, but
Because
you're.
because if they did make the whole thing and slap it in the box, somebody's gonna find a way to take it out of the box
Oh my
and
god, I
then
didn't even
fix
think
it,
about that.
and then it just looks like a gun, and then they're gonna be walking around with the gun.
Wow, that's funny. I mean, it's going to be $400 if you want the whole Evoker. You got to slap them both together with some glue.
That's true.
Oh my god. All right, last question from Luis Perez says, with Persona 3 Reload releasing soon, do you believe that Atlus might consider remaking Persona 1 and 2 if this does well? So, similar to like we said with the Persona 4 remake, I think a Persona 1 and 2 remake would be a lot more
I
expensive, but
think that would be a lot more expensive because with all the licensing
oh no, I just meant in
and
terms of having to make more new
oh yeah,
assets, because like
making
yeah,
models and assets. That's true as well. Um, but you know, I
I
think
think the
that
remake
it
selling well though could lead to a remaster coming sooner. Whereas yeah, I think a 4 remake is probably more of a correlation between 3 selling well to 4 coming out.
Yeah. But honestly, I think that what they should do realistically is just release them like 1 and 2 digitally, which probably would be the most cost-effective option. And then maybe if those actually sell well, consider doing, 1 or 2 as a remake and then just like bundle them both together. Both 2 games.
Yeah, it's always so tough to say either way with it. Um, but I'm optimistic. I hope it sells well, but also now, much like my fear with other things, I just hope it doesn't get sucked away in a wave of 9 million other games coming out. We still gotta wait and see. Speaking of things we also have to wait and see on, we have to wait until next week for the next episode of this podcast. But Melissa, thank you so much for coming back on. We were going for
Over
just
a year.
almost well,
Almost 2 years.
I meant in terms of recording.
Oh.
We're almost at 90 minutes, so
We've been recording for 2 years.
it's been 2. Yeah, it's the Titanic of podcasts. They say sinks just as fast.
That's really sad. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'll be the dining room table you can float on.
I thought it was a door.
Yeah, that too, probably.
Oh.
But yeah, Melissa, where do you want people to follow you, and where can they find you online?
Well, I'm still on the X, I guess.
I'm on the X.
I'm on
Check
the
out
X.
Don't forget to
I'm on
subscribe
the
to my
X
exclusive
games.
X photos. Check out
X
my.
content.
Make sure to check out my triple X content on X.com.
X.com.
You can check me out on the Bang Bros bus.
I'm on Twitter X, at Fatal Flare, at twitter.x.com, .Elon Musk fuck you house.
Just remember, Melissa, anytime you want to go back, Gaia Online's still there. We can always pivot back to Gaia. If you want to,
We were pivoting back to Tumblr now.
I mean, yeah.
Back to...
Honestly, it could go either way.
Honestly, you want to go back to Gaia? Because I'll go back to Gaia.
Dude, I've got a sick ass avatar waiting for me in Gaia, dude. I had a pretty sweet Nissan Scion. I'd be in the rally, picking up chicks, talking.
Okay, so someday you should go on like Twitter or YouTube, and you should like screenshot, or you could make a video of what your Gaia Online profile from high school looks like.
Dude, I even remember the name still. Before I was Torchwood 4SP everywhere, my online name, mostly used on Gaia and like other Flash games, I went by X underscore Naruto underscore Kun underscore 15 underscore X.
Oh no.
Why was Naruto Kun 15? I don't know.
Because you really liked Naruto.
Dude, I fucking love Naruto, dude. Now I need to make. I do, yeah. I love Naruto. I need to make a follow-up account where it's Boruto X30. How do you do, fellow kids? Don't mind me, 30 plus year old Spencer picking up chicks in the Gaia forums.
Sorry, guys. I'm going back to Neopets.
Oh, I mean, we can't joke about that. I think Neopets is actually coming back. But, you know what's always here to stay? Patreon.com/SMTN. If you'd like to help keep this dumpster fire afloat, you can always go to Patreon.com/SMTN. Get this show early, fun giveaways, DM me at a moment's notice to let me know how bad of a job I'm doing at putting these up. No one does that, but the ability is there. And I appreciate all of you guys. Like, seriously, you guys are such ride or dies. It always does help keep the show afloat. I can not express it enough. There's 2 tiers, really easy. Dollar is just the quick and easy. I want to get in and see the Patreon feed posts, stuff like that. And for all the adventurous ones out there, $5 and up a month get you the executive producer tag, and I say your name at the end of every episode. Just like the following amazing people, we've got Jagingus, Budweiser Tall Cans, Cameron Sharp, Carlos Hernandez, Contraband, Cross Ren Ren, Demi Crow, Dozy Bear, Dr. Luma, Gorosero, Jazzy Jefferson, K Horse, and Mirth Mouser still, as well as Patrick Dissart, and I think I'm probably missing one more. Philip Meyer. Thank you all so much, everybody. You guys are fantastic.
So,
Yes.
you know what they should have been getting on Patreon?
Ooh, what is that?
What if they would have got like special SMTN beanie and special SMTN mask? And what's the bottom of the mask? Spencer's face.
The worst, the actual worst idea ever. Ironically, what I'm probably going to do is in October, as a push to not be a awful, awful content creator, I'm going to probably do a, hey, if you are a patron at any level in October, I will give you a poster to Persona 5 Tactica for free. Will I probably eat dog shit for shipping? Definitely. Well, but you know what? For all those people who are wanting a poster, I'll probably do that. I'm not sure if it'll be just a, hey, all dollar and up people get that, or maybe the $5 and up people, just so at least that way I don't completely eat shit for shipping. But stay tuned. Possible free posters in your future, everybody.
Where are you getting the posters?
I got them all at Anime Expo. There was a Persona 5 Tactica panel.
I want one.
There was a Tactica panel, and they were giving out free posters at the end, and I said, hey, I'm doing an Atlus panel. Can I have some of these to give away? And he gave me a box of 500.
Oh my, then I can have one, huh?
Rumor has it, Spencer might still have 498 of them left.
Whoa.
But Melissa,
Rumor has it.
Thank you.
Come out.
Thank you for coming on. I'm going to start editing this bad boy to get this thing up before the end of September, God willing. But I'm going to let you get back to the mighty magical world of Eorzea.
Okay, the mighty magical world of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
You know,
got it.
Final Fantasy XIV hasn't had a collab in a while. They really should just do a collab where you can just have Neopets and no one explains it.
I mean, the next collab is probably... Oh, wait, the next collab is KFC, but only in Japan.
Oh my god. God bless KFC. Alright, well, I'm about to double down on my editing tonight, so everybody, thank you for listening to the show.
Die.
We will see you next week. Have a good one. Goodbye.
Good night. Bye.